Welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. And I'm glad the weather cooperated. So I'm sure you all read the slide 3 times by now, but my opening is, wouldn't you like to know the answer to these questions? What really makes you lovable to others in an effortlessly, instead of trying to please other people, right? What makes you lovable to yourself? What you are truly interested in being and you can be proud of, instead of what society tells you to be? How about finding out what the divine or God appreciates and loves about you? How often do you get a chance to ask that? Well, in our groups you do. You came to the right place today. Welcome to our Divine Love groups. We're going to have some interactive experiences, but I also have to go over some explanations, because I often get the question, well, what on earth is that, a Divine Love group? Or what in heaven, I should probably say. So, let me try to give you a definition. A Divine Love group is a gathering in a safe, facilitated space to intentionally express, receive, and experience love on a soul-to-soul level with ourselves, each other, and the divine. This is facilitated by taking turns in doing simple, playful, explorative, highly interactive verbal exercises. Highly interactive means we speak to each other most of the time. Not so much tonight, except after the break. The activities consist of intuitive and in-the-moment positive self-statements and mainly positive loving feedback about our perception of the other participants in the group or the divine. The goal of every single statement is always to make each other feel loved, seen, and appreciated. So here are some benefits of the Divine Love meetings. Oh, I forget to forward. Here we go. The Divine Love activities all aim at uncovering and emphasizing what is uniquely beautiful, adorable, and potent in us on the soul level. This is a unique opportunity to have a powerful, healing, and supportive experience around the aspects that matter most to you. And supportive because we speak about these things with each other in a very open way, in a very safe way. Becoming aware of your highest qualities and how obvious they are to others helps us overcome any currently perceived obstacles on our path to self-actualization. And I think one of the most surprising things is how obvious our highest qualities are to others. All you have to do is look at them and take a moment and tune in, and with some guidance and in a safe space, you can see them and enjoy them and speak to them and name them. The experience helps us find and live our meaning in life because it highlights our highest values and contributions that we're already making or are ready to give to others. Come to our meetings and experience a renewed sense of positive sense of self, more appreciation of others on their unique path, and a whole lot of love. So you've probably waiting for you probably have been waiting for this your whole life. So I don't want to let you wait any longer. That's why I gave you something to write in the beginning. Before we get into any more descriptions for the Divine Love groups and into any more theory, let's enjoy some very short introspective activities to start experiencing some self-love. And I wrote down 3 questions for you. That's why I gave you a pad when you came in. So please answer those 3 questions on your notepad for yourself. You're not going to have to tell anybody or show it to anybody. Here's what to keep in mind. The perfect of everything you intuitively realize also about yourself while doing these exercises is to make yourself feel lovable, wonderful, and deeply appreciated. Allow your intuition to come up with something that is important to you to acknowledge in this moment. Don't think about it, but just let it pop into your intuition. And then write the qualities down in a word or 2. Excellent. Now most people are finished, so let's come to a close and see if anybody would like to share how that felt to you. Was that easy or very hard to do, or fun maybe, enjoyable? Difficult? Yeah, that's to be expected. Because we're so trained in our whole upbringing to look at what's not good enough with us and rarely ask, what do you actually like about yourself, right? But that's the whole one of the reasons why the Divine Love groups were created, to allow ourselves to have more focus on what is good and try to start making up for all the millions of negative feedbacks we've gotten in our lives, directly or indirectly. Is anybody brave enough to share a word or two about their results? Yes?
Well, I was just going to get back to your prior question. I've been thinking a lot about truth and love and freedom recently, and it was very easy for me to answer these questions because the concept was fresh in my mind. I said, oh, it's simple in one word. So I had a perfectly easy time.
Wonderful. So a lot of truth experience, that's right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's continue if that's okay. With the question, what is so unique about the Divine Love work? Because I do think it's a unique thing that we have. I haven't come across anything that's very similar, and I would like to know if you have. So first of all, it aims at sharing love, praise, and confirmation and appreciation at the highest and most impactful level possible. And that on demand, which means you can go, as Nikki said in the introduction, you can get everything when you feel you need it except love and confirmation that you're a good, wonderful person. Whenever you choose to intentionally have that experience, you can have it. And I say whenever because the goal is to have Divine Love groups 24/7 on the planet, of course. It is highly interactive. We give each other what we would choose to experience, instead of being isolated in our search for higher insights and divine connection, which I believe is also a very unique aspect. Usually we're kind of told you sit there and meditate for 30 years and maybe you make some progress. Or you try to talk to God and see if you got anything, but you can never be quite sure. So the interactive aspect makes it very easy and simple. And people usually get into it, in small groups, get into it really fast, that everybody does the same thing and speaks to each other. And the experience of love, belonging, and evolution is almost guaranteed immediately with each activity. Again, because I give people little activities like, well, now turn to your neighbor and tell them what you perceive is one of their highest qualities. Or in the more advanced exercises, tell them what you feel the divine or God appreciates about them. So they will get to hear an answer. People always come up with an answer. And I tell them through the guidelines that everything is positive and the right thing that's happening in the moment. Everybody still with me? Any questions? It shouldn't be too much theory, I think. I mean, it's not really a theoretical thing, but it's a question of making clear what it is in contrast to some other things. One moment here. So, why do we call it Divine Love groups? I get that question often. So what's so divine about it? First of all, we love each other at the meetings and ourselves, not for specific human qualities, but unconditionally for our unique expression of the divine. So all the activities guide people to look at the inner qualities, at the soul qualities. It's never about, oh, I'm great, I'm a fast runner, or I'm good at mathematics, or I look good, or anything. That's not even, nobody even goes there. It's partly because I give them the right kind of activities to do. The love we experience with each other is on a soul-to-soul level. We frequently explore our personal understanding of the divine or speak from the divine perspective. And the love we experience is a pure celebration of each individual expression of the divine. It requires nothing, no knowledge of, previous experience with, or similarity to the other person. And it hopes for nothing in return. It's a highly rewarding experience in itself. And I'm often getting the question, what's the difference to human love, between divine love and human love? Well, in contrast, the human love, once it's outside of family relations, usually requires a mixture of the following. When we make friends or when we love a new person, we usually feel we need to know enough that we can trust them. And then that we have enough in common and enough to learn from the other in order to make the relationship of interest to us. It usually requires that we can relate to the other's qualities, views, and experience on a human level in some way, that it's somehow within the realm of our own understanding and experience, if we're looking to make friends. And in a human relationship, we often have an eye on what we can get out of the relationship. The divine love we share and experience in the meetings requires none of that. And the most surprising thing might be, and important thing, that it also does not require to know anything about the day-to-day life of the person. I never ask people that. I ask, where do you live? Okay, now what do you love about yourself? We skip to any kind of story, because story would just put the mind in a certain direction, trying to figure out this person might be a good parent or so. But we're not trying to think anything. And we're also not trying to tell people, don't try to memorize what you learn about the others in the group, even on that day, because let something fresh come up from your intuition that gives you an insight about the inner qualities. So in a way, it can be very relaxing. It is very relaxing. Yes.
On that upper square there, that fourth item, when it comes down to the second line, and hopes for nothing in return. These days, I'm feeling a lot of gratitude. I've come to appreciate the theory or the concept of giving without strings attached, which is, I think, basically what that's saying there. In hopes for nothing in return. In other words, we have the ability to share, come from abundance, and give without being the task that we're only going to give if we're going to get something back.
Right.
And then, to me, the divine sense, we give with the confidence that ultimately we might get something back and we might not. And that's not the point of living in the divine.
Right. Very good. Thank you. I hope some of this got on the video, because I can't repeat all that. It's, yeah. Okay. Some more things you might want to know about the divine love work. So what is the divine love work based on? What are you invited to agree with? Well, not very much, and certainly not any doctrine. Our definition of the divine is in no way a doctrine of any sort. It has nothing to do with religion, obviously, which the West Coast people get pretty easily, I think. Our activities are actually an explorative and playful nature. We are open to whatever love comes through. And we invite and explicitly address each participant's specific view of their higher power. I started having people on the screen write their first name, then a comma, and then how they address the divine, the word, and even the pronouns, so that we always can look at that on the screen. So far we have done most meetings online in the last couple of years, so that we can always speak to the person the way they like to think about the divine. So what successful participation does need, though, from you is that you're open to trusting in a truly loving and supportive universe, or a higher power of your own understanding, whatever you want to call it. Some people might call it universe. That you're open to the idea that the purpose of life is to express the divine qualities that you are choosing. That you're open to be seen and receive positive, loving feedback. We hope so, because that's what we do the whole time. And finally, that you are willing and able to follow the guidelines, we'll get to those later, that make it a safe container. It's particularly about only speaking of positive inner qualities you intuitively perceive, with the intention of making someone feel loved, seen, and appreciated. And to facilitate this, I give clear, continuous guidance, I or other facilitators, and have a strong focus on, exclusive focus on positive qualities. And there's a myriad of questions, and I always come up with more and more, and I can also make them up in the moment, which is actually kind of fun. So when we have a meeting, I prepare what might be a good topic today and what questions might fit, but then I totally go along with how things develop. Just like when you visit a friend, you don't write out what you're going to talk about before you go. So the activities are highly interactive, and this is in fact a special ingredient that makes them so powerful and to experience love and spiritual expansion. Oh, right here. So I want to show you a little part of a video that we took a year or two ago. I can't remember, but fairly in the beginning of the online work together, that And we did it on purpose, and everybody signed a video release form. These are some very regular people in the Saturday group, to kind of demonstrate what it could look like on a really simple level.
All on Zoom?
Well, we have 3 groups on Zoom right now, but I'm offering, starting next week, I'm going to offer one right here. That was my big excitement, that we can finally, we can get some local people, and obviously people who are willing to come here are probably willing to get together in a room. So yes, it's going to be on Tuesdays, 10:30 to 12:30, right here, starting next week. So let's start with the first round of saying our name, where we're from, or where we're sitting right now, and then one thing you like or love about yourself. And I go first. My name is Marion. I'm in Ashland, Oregon, west coast of the United States. And one thing I like or love about myself is that I'm really courageous doing these things, asking people to do completely new things and trusting that it's going to work. Okay, maybe Catherine can go next. You're on my screen up top.
Yes, my name is Catherine. I'm from Canada, Quebec, Canada. The one thing I love about myself is, well, my faith. My faith.
Thank you. And then Shani is next on my screen.
Hello, my name is Shani. I'm from South Africa. I live in Bloemfontein, a city right in the center of South Africa, central South Africa. And I'm in my room. And what I like about myself is that I really try to live in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And next, Maria is on my screen.
Oh, hello everybody. I am Marion Encarnacion. I am from Venezuela. Now I am in Chile. One thing that I love too much about myself is that always I see the life in a positive way. Thanks.
Thank you. So in the next round, we can get a little interactive. And don't be intimidated, but I'm sure you can simply intuitively pick up the quality about the person, a person here in the circle. So you get to choose which person you would like to speak to. And just speak to somebody where you have strong intuition, that you picked something about them, and tell them one quality that you find particularly nurturing about them, something that you feel would nurture other people. And also how that could benefit people around them. And again, you get to pick just any person on the screen where you feel you have an intuition.
Let's start with you, Marion.
Okay.
Marion, I think that you are very... You know exactly how to run things. You're a wonderful facilitator, and this program that you've started, this platform to come together, is really going to help all of us. You are already helping us, and we feel that we are learning a lot from you, and it's really benefiting because of your absolute expertise.
I did not tell her to say that. She actually did not do it right. She was supposed to say one thing.
Thank you, Johnny. Very sweet of you to say.
Now let's pick the next person. Yeah?
I wanted to talk to Maria. Well, you're an angel, and you're here to benefit people around you with your positive way of thinking and your patience and your terrific teacher, and all all spheres of your life. I know your work is a teacher, but you work on this earth with other teachers too. With everybody you touch, the way you touch them. So,
Thank you, Catherine. That's very sweet. I'd like to pick Shawnee. And Shawnee, you have such a warm, radiant, welcoming energy. And I can imagine that all your friends feel totally unconditionally loved and held by you. That you would never even dream of judging them.
Oh,
Welcoming.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel very welcome. Thank you very much.
All right.
I will pick up Catherine. I think, Catherine, you are so authentic person, and I love too much you for that. And I think everybody really appreciate that your authenticity and the way that you teaching the person and giving love to all the person around you. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, now let's get to the next round, which is kind of one of our peak experiences we do, where we put one person in the middle and then they get a brief feedback, just one or two things from everybody around them. And this time we're going to go into the divine perspective. And we're going to see the highest in them and what God or the divine loves about them from that perspective, not so much from our personal perspective, but really just try to allow yourself to imagine that you're able to tune into this highest perspective of the highest love and wisdom and the highest benefit for the universe and all of us. So we're going to speak from the perspective of God or the divine, whatever feels right for you to say in your mind, or speak out also loud to that person. And we're going to tell them what God or the divine really appreciates about them. Maybe right now, whatever comes up is totally up to you, if it's right now or in the whole life, but just one or two things that you feel God would appreciate about that, does appreciate about this person, God or the divine does appreciate about this person. And I think I'm just going to take the liberty to volunteer who's in the center, and then the three of us give them just one or two things. Not, I know we have a lot to say, but we're going to keep it brief today. So let's start with Catherine.
Catherine, you are so special to the divine. You've had things happen to you, and yet every time you've turned to God for answers, and you've received your answers, and you've been in the flow of the divine for sure, because you are achieving what you want to achieve, and you looking ahead, and for that, God, the divine, is very, very proud of you. Very, very proud of you that you're looking ahead and not looking to the past. You're looking ahead, taking each step at a time. Beautiful lady.
I can go next.
Yes, please.
Oh, Catherine, God is very proud about you because you are one of the most proactive angels that God has. And proactive in the way that you spread love everywhere around you. Thank you.
You have such a clear expression of love and the divine spirit in you. And you really convince people that this is where it is. I have a feeling, I know a little bit about your background, so I have a feeling that with your whole life and everything you do and say, you convince people that to come with me, come down that path of being more loving and being more connected, and that this is really what matters in life and helps us overcome all kinds of hardships. And you really portray this so beautifully. Even the way you look and you hold yourself in the world really conveys that to us. That look, this is where it is, and I can do it, and you can come with me. Thank you for that.
You're a chic, elegant lady.
Yes. Thank you. So let's go with Shani next. And shower her with what God or the divine really appreciates about her.
Oh, Shadi, Lord, he is very proud about you and he loves how friendly you are. And it is so great because you have so many friends around you that they love to much you.
Thank you, Maria.
Yes, Shadi, you're attracting to you so many good people. So you're such a good person. So you have so much people around you that benefit from your kindness and your non-judgment way of being and being in the now moment too. You're really a good angel. You're really doing your job. Yes.
Thank you, beautiful.
You're doing your job.
You're here on this planet to uplift everybody, to uplift them with your energy and your presence, and it's like you're screaming is not a good word, but you're out loud you're conveying to anybody that life is wonderful, was supposed to be enjoyed, and you're kind of trying to take them with you and support them in that. And just being in your presence, they get that feeling of everything is okay, and I'm going to be okay. And you really do a great job at reconnecting people to the divine and to our divine purpose we have on the planet.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, shall we go next with Maria?
Yeah.
Well, I told you already, I'll say it again. You're the little Maria, and you played the game up to now. You grown up as being a child, and you're so much surprised by the nature, and just like a child, you appreciate all that is, and that's a gift, and you're gifted, and you're using your gift so well as I think the angel you are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maria, you're a shining light. You're a beautiful teacher, a beautiful guide, and you are angelic. You're just the sweetest thing on earth. Earth really are. And I just see you as this serene goddess, the way you are with people, calmly looking at them and loving them unconditionally. Your students adore and love you. That I know for a fact, because you've got time for each and every one of them, being a magnificent lecturer. And I'm only too happy to see you do that as the divine looking at you. You are using the gifts that I, the divine, have given you. And you're really using it in an active way, in a proactive way, beautifully. I love you. You're beautiful. Special angel.
Thank you, Shani. Thank you. It's my turn still to speak to Maria. Maria, speaking from the perspective of God or the divine, I really appreciate how you celebrate my creation. How you teach everybody with everything you say and do that this is a beautiful planet and beautiful experience. And you bring people back to that level of positivity and celebration. And that's very much needed, because it's easy to forget in this time how beautiful the creation is and how wonderful it feels for everybody and me as a divine to have a positive connection and to trust that everything was created so it works together well. Thank you for that. It's a very special service you're doing on this planet.
One more.
I guess that leaves me.
After that, we can shut it off. See what they say. I haven't seen it in a while.
I can start.
Yes,
Marion, I think from the perspective of God, you are one very sweet angel, God, and just God want to say to you that remember that you are wisdom and you are knowledge, and that you are spreading this knowledge and this wisdom around you with love for everyone. And God is very proud about it.
thank you.
Marion, I think you're the most wonderful guide. Your structure is your gift to us, the way you structure things. And you have got a great future, and you remind me of a lighthouse. You stand there stately with your light shining, guiding us from us lost ships in the ocean back to shore, back in line, so that we listen to you carefully and follow our intuitive guidance to speak to each person exactly with your directions, perfect directions. You're a beautiful, wonderful human being, so loyal to all of us, so loyal to God. God loves the fact that you are dedicated to bring this love, this divine love, into everybody's lives. Thank you so much, Marion.
Thank you so much. It's so sweet. I like the lighthouse effect.
She goes a little.
Picture. Thank you.
So, Marion, your divine qualities are so much benefiting of all the people that you touch by this group and all the groups that are come and are already there. And you're so gifted to Granny. There's angels helping you to help you to organize all your material to create this group. And I'm witnessing the beauty of this group from all sides, inside out, and all that, because I'm starting the French group, and Marion is my facilitator, and she's so wonderful with my human way of being. I needed it to go up to my my own possibilities of doing things too.
Okay.
So
After that, yeah.
it's really wonderful. It's wonderful the way you're doing your job as an angel and practitioner. Marion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It's so sweet.
Well, you might have noticed that sometimes I went off topic, off task a little bit, but I mean that was filmed a year or two ago. But it doesn't really matter. That's why I tell people, don't be shy when you're asked to speak from the divine perspective, because as long as what you say is positive and supportive and loving, you're not going to hurt anybody. And it's not, it's a process of getting into that and being more and more intuitive and being able to perceive something from a different perspective than your own. I mean, I noticed that some of them slipped quite often into their personal perspective, which is fine. There's no harm done as long as it's positive and loving. So now we lost our spot, but no problem. We'll go straight back here. Oops. No. There you go. So you might have been wondering by now where you could do such a thing. So we currently have 3 online Divine Love groups. And one that we're planning to do here this time is not quite right. It's going to be 10:30 on Tuesdays at 10:30 in this very room. And we're usually small groups, I mean, of 4, 5, 6 people. But I also can handle bigger groups, because in person it's easy to split them up then and have them do exercises and activities together. And if you would like to be informed, please make sure to put your name and email on this legal pad here. If you would start giving that around. And you can always find all the information on our website and on the calendar. And I assume that the biggest interest of people here would be to come to a local group, to an in-person group, which I hope that we can get going here in Ashland again. Because it's really, it adds a different level of possibilities to it, to be right in the room with people. Does anybody have any questions about the video or anything at this moment? Yes.
I have a question for you, Marion. Kind of a broad question, but how often do you find that there's a disconnect or a blind spot between what we love about ourselves and what other people love about us, where they're two different things?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm making sense there.
Mm-hmm.
Which is paradigms, essentially. We all have different paradigms.
Mm-hmm.
How people view us, and of course other people's paradigms of us are different. Do you find a lot of disconnects?
I must say I have not found a lot of disconnect, but that partly has to do with the fact that I don't have them sit down in the beginning and write down everything they ever thought they would love about themselves, and then compare this with what we see in the moment. But kind of, as you did a moment ago with your own self-love activity, also our own intuitive guidance gets guided to perceive things we normally don't necessarily think about, but that make a lot of sense to us in that moment. So I have not really found a lot of disconnect, I must say. Because the moment you come to the group, you're kind of aware it's not going to be about things like worldly achievements or anything you usually try to love about yourself. And if it's something that is truly important to your own soul, then the others will see that too. Yeah. Does that answer your question? But I'll try to get some disconnect coming out there, some contradictions, and we can work on that. That might be fun.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I'm curious what it's like, say, the very first meeting, and you're sitting there with 4 people you've never seen before in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just like throwing out I guess your intuition, I guess, or just a
Right.
feeling that you get from the person. Like, I feel like it might be kind of hard on some of those questions if you don't have a little history about them.
Right. This was kind of a demonstration of how different kinds of questions could be answered and the people knew each other for several months at that point. Usually when people are brand new to each other, I invite, that's my German, I got that word wrong. I invite them to do a little bit of self-reflection and sharing about that in the beginning. So without really realizing it, I think they give away some of the things, how they think about themselves and what's important about themselves. I usually start every new group with new, or even one new participant, by asking them, tell us where you are, how you pronounce your name, 3 times sometimes because of the international factor, and online. And one thing you love about yourself, you like or love about yourself. And that's usually, some people, they can say that. And then we do a second round and say, okay, now tell us one thing you love about God or the divine, and one thing God or the divine loves about you. And that's when people sometimes swallow and say, how am I supposed to know? But it's kind of a slow process of where they do reveal a little bit about themselves, we each do, but about things that might matter in that context, not about, how many children do I have or what my professional life looks like. And then I start slowly, like pick one person, often I say pick one person in the room where you have an intuition and give them a feedback about what you find their friends might like about them or so, for example. And by that time, it's people have seen and felt and heard enough about each other to have some kind of an impression. And then it builds upon that in a way. Yeah, and I also, I should say, whatever comes up in the moment, as long as it's positive, is all you need to say. It doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be the most important thing. It just has to be something that feels true and needs to be said in the moment. That's it, yeah. Any other questions right now about the format, for example? I mean, this was really an attempt of a demonstration to go fast through some exercises. Okay. Some more advanced activities, just to give you an idea what they could look like. And again, as we are longer together as a group, we learn how to do the advanced activities. And I had these regulars you just saw actually for a very long time in that group, so that kind of forced me to come up with new things, and which was wonderful actually, a big gift ultimately. Instead of having to start over every time, to be able to develop something that goes a little bit beyond what we usually do. So for example, once I asked, tell us what you would like to be written on your tombstone. Then we tell you how you are already expressing that beautifully and representing that beautifully by picking up on energies and qualities that we already perceive about the person. Then sometimes we tell each other from a general perspective, what is one quality that you have that makes you so beautiful that it outshines any possible flaws? And you'll hear an example of that in a moment that I wrote out. And one of my favorite activities, because it's so outrageous in a way, is we tell you now from the highest perspective something that God or the divine always wanted to tell you, but never quite got across. I love that one. So here's an example of a positive feedback that I recently gave to somebody. And now I'll read it to you. To the question, what makes them the perfect partner to have? What is one quality that outshines all possible flaws? And it was I gave this feedback, and it was to a male participant in his 60s. So what I felt. You have a really good heart, and you are tuned in with the heart of God, with the love of God. When you focus on somebody else, you give them your whole heart, and not just that, it comes straight from God. The love and compassion and understanding and a willingness to bear witness and to support the person, all these things, it comes straight from God. It's bigger than just yourself, and you know that. You know that you couldn't do that much without your own hands to support them, but you have and convey the feeling of you are lovable and everything will be okay, and I see you that way, and God sees you that way too. And then I realized You can give the love of God. What's wrong with that? And you probably can imagine that that made the person really feel seen and appreciated. Oh, here we come to the guidelines, the most important ones. There's a few other ones, but they're mostly more like a pep talk, how you can do it. Just take a moment, tune in. You can take all the time in the world you need to come up with something, or you can take a pass. But these are the most important ones to make it a safe space. And first of all, I remind people that the purpose of everything you say and do here is to make the person you address feel loved, seen, and appreciated. And the purpose of the guidelines is to create a safe container for this. First of all, we assume that we are all good enough, already, perfectly lovable, and well able to thrive. We use our intuition instead of our knowledge. And we focus only on positive qualities, on what is already good and wonderful about each person. That's the most important thing. We do not give any advice how to do anything better. We reinforce healthy, beautiful aspects, and we're here to praise and celebrate each other in our uniqueness. We avoid telling stories. That's also something that's probably quite unusual for a group that comes together to share in love. But we avoid telling stories. Instead, we focus on what we feel in the moment, because stories are usually negative, and they take up valuable time to create something new. And we never give advice or make suggestions on how to think, feel, or act differently, because advice tends to make us, or does make us, feel inadequate and not good enough yet. Huh.
Comment?
Yes?
The second item up there, we use our tuition instead of our knowledge. From my experience, actually, a balanced life is a bit of both. And it's kind of like a dynamic equilibrium. You swing back and forth depending on what's appropriate in the moment. Sometimes intuition is important, other times knowledge is.
Right. Well, this is not
Instead of being exclusive.
Right. It's not a guideline to how to live your life. It's only a guideline how to act while we're together for an hour and a half or 2 hours. Because the whole idea is to come up with things and bring the attention to things that we usually don't think about. You know, and what we neglect to think about, how wonderful we really are. I mean, we all have the knowledge what we achieved in life, and we can tell each other, but it's still not going to make us happy to hear, oh, you achieved something. Well, I knew that before. You know, we're there to tell each other things we didn't know before, really, or we don't pay enough attention to. Okay, well, for the remainder of the time, we're going to get a little interactive here. And I offer you some feedback to give feedback to you for the rest of the time here. The first exercise is to give you a chance to hear a short, intuitive, positive, loving feedback from me, if you choose to have one. And remember, it won't hurt, because the purpose of everything I intuitively perceive and tell you is to make you feel loved, seen, and appreciated. And this will be an experiment, because, as we said, usually there are between 1 and 3 self-statements by everyone, or by you in this case, before feedback is given to someone, and I will not have that. So, and here's a selection of questions you can ask if you would like me to answer those for you, to you specifically. All you have to do is raise your hand and pick one of those numbers. Any volunteers?
Aren't you?
Huh? Well, we'll find out. I don't know.
Highly intuitive to answer those questions.
Well, I'm the one, though, who's going to answer the questions.
Yes, I'm saying you are highly intuitive.
Are you clairvoyant?
No. Actually, before I did this work, I had no relation whatsoever with being clairvoyant or intuitive or anything. It wasn't my forte at all. My forte was being nice to people. and being upset that people often, when you get together in a group, that talk about everything except something that would matter or make people feel included, yeah. But I think I developed quite a bit of intuition over time. And we all do doing those exercises. And you do not have to be intuitive at all to join a group. Every little piece helps.
I would love to hear
something that the divine loves about me.
Okay. And you use the word divine. Okay. That's okay. Give me a moment or two. You have an unusual trust in divine guidance and in life. And you're here to celebrate the love we get from the divine. You like to share that with others. You like to be a role model for that. He's nodding. It's really not that easy. No, but you're here to celebrate the joy that the divine gave us on this planet and in life. And you don't spend too much time on negative things. And keep coming back to that with the purpose of pulling other people up with you. And that's one of the best gifts you can make to the divine, because that's very much needed. Somebody else? Warming up? Okay.
The same question.
Yeah.
For the divine.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for looking me in the eyes. That helps a lot. The divine loves about you that you share your wisdom so freely, and you have a lot of wisdom, and you came here to accumulate a lot of wisdom and give it to other people, but in a very simple, straightforward way. You try not to make it complicated, but to give people something that's easy to understand and really helps them. And that's what I see. You are very special actually in that, because usually people who want to give their wisdom, they keep talk, but you're not doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to show off. You're just doing it to give others a little bit of a lift along the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any truth to that?
I'm sorry?
Does it feel true?
Oh, yes.
Good. It's good if several people raise their hands, because you can see that at least not say the exact same thing to everybody.
Could you do number 2, please?
Okay. Oh, okay. You are so honest. And your friends know exactly what they have in you. And the good effect in that is that you're also very, very honest in your love. They can trust that any expression of love, support, wanting to be with them really comes from your heart, and it's really meant what it is, meant in a true way. And they know that they can ask you for advice and for your opinion, and you will go out of your way to tell them what you feel is important for them to hear, and not trying to just gloss over things in any way. So they can rely on you with their life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I like this. I was looking forward to this part. Because it's one thing in the groups always, I don't really like to speak a lot about theory. It's always wonderful once it gets interactive in some way. Which question would you like to have answered?
Same one.
What
Number 2.
What your friends like about you? It's easy. That's You're very warm and optimistic. And you have an open heart and an open mind. So if your friends tell you something about themselves or how they see life, you're totally willing to let that be what it is, without having to hold your own vision against it right away. And I feel like you're willing to refine your vision, to include everything you hear, even the things your friends might see about the world. because of this feeling in your heart that you want to be all-inclusive. You don't want to be separated from others, not even with your own opinion. Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. I always say I have the most practice of everybody because I'm at every single group, but even if I don't facilitate it, I go to the French group, French and English group on Thursdays.
Does it work if you know the person?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I'll do number one.
Number one. Wait, what? Okay. What is something you personally like or admire about me? He happens to be a very good friend of mine. I like how warm your heart is and how full of service everything you do is and everything you feel, think, and say. And I admire about you that you're so connected to God. And yet you're not arrogant with it. You're just trying to make everybody have the same experience and take everybody along and allow them to discover how they can do this for themselves. Not even try to teach them, but allow them to discover how they can do this for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Can you do number 3 for me?
Number 3. I like how I set this up. People don't even have to say much, which won't be on the tape anyway. Just give me a number. Would you like me to just use the divine, or do you have your own way how you would like? Divine is okay. Okay, the divine. Something the divine loves about you. It's easy. You spend a lot of time learning about the things that really matter in life. And you do it with a wide open, loving heart. With the purpose of giving other people a better life and making it easier for them to access that wisdom, the wisdom that makes life more fun and more doable and more safe and everything, all of these good things. Wait, I'm not done yet. And I'm even getting that you sacrificed some of the wisdom you already had and went back kind of and said, okay, let me study all over in this lifetime to pick it up in a way that is easy and simple and more easy to put together and give it to other people. So it's not the first time that you're learning that wisdom for yourself in this lifetime. And that's a wonderful service you're doing. You're like an earth angel. Ah, okay.
I would like question number 3, and the divine is the word I prefer.
Okay, thank you. The divine appreciates that you are willing to help carry other people's burdens with you. You're really in there with your friends and also even people you don't know, and you don't shy away from having to live through sad or feelings yourself, sad or somehow depressing feelings yourself. Because it's really important for you to carry others with you and to be by their side and be a companion while they feel they're in the lower parts of life. And that's an incredible gift, especially since you yourself would have had the option to live a happier life, to say, oh, I'll just focus on the good things. But you're willing to be there with a lot of other people in their darkest moments. She's nodding, so I guess, am I right? Somewhat?
I think that's a path that may be a little bit still ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that.
Oh, Okay.
I was thinking about that, a way to serve in that sort of way that you're describing.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, okay. Thank you. She was thinking about that, she said, for the tape. Her way of serving that way. Well, I'm not, it felt to me like you're doing it already, so.
Can you do number 3, reading my son? And you can use any word you like.
Okay. God appreciates about you, the divine appreciates about you that you were willing to come into some quite confusing circumstances in this time and in your personal life. And God feels like you have some big plans what to make out of this later. And I'm not finished yet. Your willingness to take it all in, the divine appreciates your willingness to take it all in and to just let it be what it is right now, and to trust that you will find your own path later. What good will come out of this? Because it doesn't feel so great right now, understandably. But you're definitely one of the more enlightened children. All right. Well, shall we move on? You all get a chance if you come. You all live in Ashland, I assume, or close by. So every Tuesday morning, starting at 10:30 till 12:30, we're going to have an in-person group here, which will be much smaller and much more interactive, where you also get to practice your own intuitive feedback skills. And you get to realize that one thing that is so fascinating about the work for me is that loving and seeing and loving people in their uniqueness is as rewarding as getting the positive feedback yourself. And yes, and we usually don't even ask, is it right or not? I mean, nobody is required to give feedback to the feedback. I mean, it's okay to do that if you feel like saying, oh, right on, but we don't ask, we just go by the facial expression. If you make them smile or cry, that's a good thing. Cry with joy, of course. And that quite often happens. It quite often happens in the groups. Oh, okay. I was going to invite, if somebody would like to come in front of the room, but maybe since the time is later than I thought, we might as well wait if you want to stay around for the second part after a short break to get a more elaborate personal feedback, so you don't have to be in front of the camera. I think so many people volunteered to get their feedback that we got a good idea for now and can skip that part, if that's okay, and do it in a smaller, more intimate circle. Well, this brings us to the very last sheet here. Did everybody get a chance to sign up on the email list who would like to? I mean, you can always go back to the website. I put it on every slide, divinelovegroups.org, and find the information you need to find the group. But it's nice to be able to address people personally.
If that's an organization, that you are one of many, or is this Divine Love group unique to you as a facilitator?
Good question. It is unique to me. I started it, but my intention is to make an organization out of it. And so far, I have one student who does her own groups, the French-Canadian lady you've seen in the video. And she has to do it in French and English right now because she doesn't have enough French-speaking people yet, so she translates a lot. But my intention is definitely this to be a model that gets picked up by many people. Let's come to the last part. So we're coming to the end of the presentation part, and I invite you to come back after a short break to experience some more interactive activities in a small circle without the camera, and where you also have a chance to speak to other people. But it would be really nice if I could receive some of the same kind of positive feedback from the audience about the presentation or about me. And if you have any ideas of what could be improved about the groups.
I have one.
Yes?
Too soon?
Well, we're only collecting positive feedback right now.
Oh.
Unless it's kind of a question. Go ahead, tell me.
I think this might have something to do with your German, and you're from Germany. So I just noticed that I think you meant to say bucket.
What did I say?
But
So it's just a little.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I meant a bucket. Thank you. Well, it's exactly. So I invite you to write any ideas what could be improved, or not. Write this on one of the notes I gave you on one of the notepads and put it in that bucket out there where it says feedback. Any kind of just to stay with the topic, we only do positive feedback right now, and anything that's more like negative feedback or questions that are still open, concerns, or something where you feel, well, I would never want to join a divine love group. I would really like to know why, because I'm still learning, why people like it, why they don't like it, etc., and what I can improve. But those suggestions, please go into that bucket. Thank you for that. But into the bucket that says feedback. And right now, it would be nice to have some positive feedback about the presentation. And you get to practice how to say something positive. And I would really like to know what is something that you enjoyed or something that touched you, or any of those questions, or what you found enticing and might want to make you to come to a group, or what feels very inspired to. Yes, please.
I like the subject matter. It's very, how could you not like divine love?
The subject matter, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
I really like your positive energy and the way you express the divine love that comes from your heart.
Thank you.
Palpable.
Wow, that's good. Oh, I have to repeat this, right? No?
I can hear
You can hear him? Okay, good. Thank you so much. Yes.
And I liked how on the Zoom that you showed on the presentation, you had that beautiful artwork behind you. There was like 3 women kind of floating, and
Yeah.
the other one was like 2 pieces that were
The world, yeah.
I didn't know what
Thank
it
you,
was, but
yeah.
it was 2 pieces.
Thank you. That's my artwork, yeah.
Oh, that's your artwork.
Yes, yes.
I did, Mary.
Hmm?
Beautifully eloquent.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. I was afraid I bored people to death with all the talk.
I have one.
Gentleman in the back, please.
Thank you for your courageous spirit.
Thank you. It does take courage to sit here and tell me what you want to know. I'll tell you. Nikki?
Yeah, it feels very divinely inspired. I love this idea, and I just felt even at the very beginning when you were just describing the energy of the whole room lift. I'm like, everybody's gonna leave here feeling good tonight. I mean, how could you not? So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think these kind of groups are very important because sometimes our lives are going too fast. That we need time for, to come back to ourselves. So this is a space that allows us to do that.
Thank you. Yes, please.
I get that your intention about sharing love and building consciousness and raising our vibration is so strong that I could see this possibly could be your life's divine mission.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that, definitely.
Yeah, I sense that.
Oh yeah. More and more so in the last 2 years. I'm already doing non-stop pretty much, it feels like. Any idea? Yes, please.
I think that you have a very beautiful and very necessary mission, because I think that we are actually God, and we usually forget that we are God ourselves, and we really need to remember that, and with that kind of activities, we at least we can have a little like vision for a moment or a feeling for a moment that we are God, and we really need to listen to God, and we need each other to do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, and it's really fascinating, to see how many, how unique the expression of the divine is in each person. I mean, I often see things I would have never dreamed of or thought about it in my whole life, and say, wow, this is so beautiful, and this is such a unique path. It's not my path, but it's a unique path, and it's totally important in this world. And thank you. Yes?
I love the fact that your information was given with such soft energy that had so much potency connected to it.
Thank you. Good. Well, if we're all done, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving me a chance to tell you about what I'm passionate about and to invite you to come to our group. And if we get too big, we make a second group. There's never a problem with that. I can do it all day, every day. Thank you.
Thank you.